Hello and welcome to Generative Geek. Today's episode is about building this exciting game without writing a single line of code yourself. How do you do that? I'm going to teach you the way I built this Tetris game by using GPT-4o, right, on my desktop app, right? It'll be a fun learning session. This is basically a no code kind of a tutorial. It will help you get understanding of what GPT-4o is capable of as far as the screenshot to coding goes. It'll be a fun one. Let's get started. Don't go by the way I'm playing the game. That's not how I usually play the game. But over the years, maybe my Tetris has definitely got spoiled. Let's get started. So I am in my chat GPT and I'm on a Mac app. Chat GPT 4o is selected. For this tutorial, like I said, you need a paid version and you need access to 4o. And I am on a Mac desktop app. So if you have a desktop app, great. You can actually use that, right? So let me just reduce the size of this because for some reason I cannot enhance the font on the chat GPT window, right? So let's go to Chrome and I'm going to say, hey, I want to build a Tetris game, so give me a Tetris game image. And I have several of these images showing up. I'll just pick one. So I'll copy this, come back to my chat GPT 4o and say, hey, as an expert game developer, as an expert Python game developer, build this game for me. Do not add a lot of fancy stuff in the game for now. Just a basic game will do. The reason I added this is because I have seen when you give it an image and it knows that hey, it's a game, it tends to go out and start building a lot of complex logic into the game in the first build itself. I don't want it to do that. I just want it to give me a basic game for now. So okay, so now the instructions have started coming in. It's building and saying, hey, you know what, pip install pygame. So now what I'll do is I'll first start going to I'll go to my Visual Studio Code and I'll create a new folder. I'll say open folder, and within desktop, I'll just say game dev, right? So I'm just going to say game dev. I have this blank folder. I'm going to create a requirements.txt, and this thing has pygame in it now, right? Because that's what ChatGPT is asking us to install, right? So I have pygame, and what I'm going to do now with pygame done, create one more file called tetris.py, right? Tetris.py. And it's giving me all the code, right? So I think the code is all done. I'm just going to copy this code now, come back to my visual code, in copy and paste the code. And now, just for argument's sake, I have no idea about pygame. Like, I have done very, very little work in pygame, and it's very hard for me to debug if something is going wrong. So first thing first, what we'll do is we'll create an environment. Command Shift P, create environment, virtual environment, Python 3.12, this requirements.txt. Okay. Right, so it's going to give me an environment with pygame installed. Now, if I go to terminal, I can see if I do a pip freeze, I can see pygame is installed, right? So, and now I'll see Python tetris.py. It's doing something. I don't know what it's trying to do, but it's definitely doing something. And it's kind of stuck. I don't see any output on my screen. Okay, it says int object is not iterable. Some error. Let's just debug this error now. So come back to ChatGPT and tell it, hey, I got this error, right? Let's see what it comes back with, right? It looks like the error is occurring because the shape format is not being in the convert shape. The shape data is not in the XY. Let's correct this issue by ensuring the shape data is in there and make some adjustments. Okay. It seems like it's trying to rotate the piece and there is some problem there. Now, guys, I have no idea what it's trying to print, right? I'm just taking the code as a no code guy and giving it all the outputs. And maybe this is also a good way for someone who is not a coder but wants to build something to iteratively go back to ChatGPT and say, hey, you know what? I tried, I did whatever you said. You gave me step by step instructions. I did whatever you said, and now I'm getting this error. Now I'm getting that error. And in the process, if you write your prompts well, you can probably learn a lot, right? So I'm just going to change the code. I've put in the new code that it gave me. I have no idea if this code will work or not, but let's try. We have time in our hand, and hello from the Pi game community, and it again bombed. Right. So again, it's saying it's not iterable. Same error it seems. I don't know what ChatGPT tried to solve. Uh, I'm getting the same error. Can you look at the code critically and evaluate the error? Right, so I've given it a little more. I see the issue now. The problem lies in convert shape format function, where the format of the shape is not being correctly interpreted. We need to ensure that the shapes are handled correctly when converting them to positions. Okay, one prompt that I have seen, or a nudge that I have seen working well oftentimes, is when you give it some code or you give it some error and say, hey, you know what, and it is not able to solve, ask it to critically evaluate the previous response, right? Then I have seen it many times. It tends to work well, right? Maybe it goes back, looks at it, is not in a rush. Let me just copy paste the code again, the fixed code. Hopefully I'm pasting the fixed code. The thing with not knowing Pygame is I don't even know if I'm pasting the fixed code, right? So Python Tetris, again some error, and again the same error, same line, same error. So guys, I think this has bombed. This definitely did not work out. Next time we'll try. Let's just make one last attempt, right? I've just copy pasted whatever the error is, and I'm going to paste this error and say, hey, now got this error. Let's just see what it says. This still persists because the shapes are defined using list, and it's trying to do a lot more stuff. It takes sometimes this kind of a grind where you go back and forth, and try to reason with it. If, let's just say, if I have to wear my intermediate hat and not an extreme novice hat, I would have taken the error, gone to Stack Overflow or some other place, figured out where the problem is, and given a more detailed prompt saying, hey, you know what, this is where you are probably struggling, right? Do you think this will help, right? Give it a few shots of an attempt towards the right answer, and maybe it will help there, right? So I have my code copied, the new code copied, and I'm going to come here again, close this, Command Shift, and now paste this, Control S, run back to the terminal, pick the last terminal. I'll just delete a lot of these terminals are open, so I'm just going to delete some of them and say clear python tetris.py. Okay, we got something, right? So we have a game here, guys. So but nothing is happening, right? So it's kind of stuck. I got a game, but nothing is happening. So let me just take this print, and I'll say, hey, you know what, I took that image as a screenshot, and I'm going to give it to it. It did solve the error, but nothing is moving. It's stuck here, right? So this is where we are stuck. It's not doing anything. I'm pressing various keys. The piece is because we haven't implemented any movement logic. Let's add basic movement. Okay, so at least good progress still here. We have now a game window showing up with some seems like some part of the puzzle coming down, and there is no movement logic, so it's just a static for now. But now ChatGPT is going to implement the movement logic. So I have quit that. I'll just take the new code that it gives me, paste it, and see what comes back, right? So it's still writing. Okay, the code writing is done. So see how we iteratively went out, asked it to critically evaluate, it gave us something, then we again gave it back. And this is how, as a pair programmer, we are going out, giving our instructions, and having the game having the game build, right? And because it can see images, right? If you keep showing it that, hey, this is what I'm getting, it can make out what needs to be done, right? So let's run this again. Okay, now I'm pressing the keys, and I can see that, uh, but it's like just one type of block, right? There's no I'm not seeing any I can't move the block. At max it's reducing in size, uh, but I can't move the block, right? But this is This is good progress. Now let me ask it that, hey, I'll again take a screenshot, right? So I've taken a screenshot, I'm quitting the game, and I'm going to send it this screenshot and say, hey, this time the game movement worked, but the pieces are not moving 360-degree. Can you give me a new, can you add that feature? Also, types of shapes seem, also seems like you have only one type of shape. Can you add two to three more types of shapes? Right, so we are at that point where we have a very basic game. Like, we initially asked it that, hey, create a very basic game. It did that. Now we are saying, hey, now comes the time where I want some enhancements, and at some point we would also want a leaderboard, or a scoreboard. Every time a line gets completed, every time, yeah, we can continue to add as many features as we want. Right now my goal is to just get some basic positions up and see what's coming back, right? So basic piece structures, 360-degree movement. Every time a line gets completed, maybe some scoreboard getting updated. If we are able to get till there, I think it'll be a great win for us. But even if, let's say, we don't get till there, and I'm not sure why we can't get till there, but let's say if for some reason we can't get till there, like, our own patience runs out, um, in that case also, I think we are at a point where a lot of good work has already been done. Now just the movement, which from here at this point, uh, you can now independently start to build some logic, or you can give it to other models. Like, you take this code of yours and give it to Gemini, right? We can even do this. We can take this code, give it to Gemini Pro 1.5 latest, and say, hey, you know what, add new pieces to it, or add a leaderboard to it, right? So it has made some changes. It has added more shape types, updated the rotation logic, and ensured the piece can be moved left, right, and down, and can rotate correctly. So very cool, very cool. Like a very experienced game developer, it's going out and building this game for us. I'm just going to paste this, and I hope this is as exciting for you as it is for me. Okay, now if I press the up key and the down key, I can see that, it's moving. It's also moving left, right. um, I'm not a very good Tetris player, but I hope I can try. I definitely I'm super lousy when it comes to Tetris. It seems it's been many years since I last played Tetris. So yeah, let's just, yeah. So I have this game now, which is built completely by ChatGPT. I have not written a single line of code, right? And it has all the things implemented. Yeah, it has my rotation logic there. It has a complete handle on, okay, just trying to see. And let's just maybe drop whatever and see what comes back when nothing is left. It can't do anything. Okay, it kind of just terminates. It did not even say, hey, you know what, you lost. uh, so I hope this was a good tutorial. We can continue to add more things to it, but I think, now it will get to a point where you can do things yourself. Just keep giving it more and more, or let's say one last part, right? When the game ended and I lost, I did not see a message. It just quit on me, right? So let's just see what comes back now. It is maybe going to refine the code. We'll display a game over message on the screen and wait for a few seconds before quitting the game. I think what is happening is, as soon as the piece is done, I saw a pygame.quit. Maybe there is no sleep here, so because of that, it just print something, but in the next nanosecond it's all like done and dusted, right? So that's the reason we don't see any, that message show up saying, hey, you lost, right? So let's just wait and see what comes back now, right? So it's still building this code for me. And I like the fact that it's building very detailed code. It's giving me a lot of change logs. uh, as a next step, what I'll recommend is we'll stop the game development here after this. uh, but think about it. You want to add new funky logic on top of it, maybe a scoreboard, saying, hey, scoreboard which has last 5 runs of your games, the memory, things like that. I'm sure you can build all of that in this, right? So I'll recommend you take this game, build next steps with it, and see where it goes from there, right? It's still building out some code. We can even ask it as a next step that, hey, oh, let me just do this. We'll not end it here. We'll take this code, we'll go to Google Gemini Pro 1.5 latest and see what it can do. So I see it has added draw middle text, then it has a check lost function, display when the game ends, and add a delay before quitting the game, right? So maybe there is a draw window has some delay somewhere when the a game over message will be displayed for 2 seconds. Run this updated script. Okay, let's just see. It will display it for 2 seconds. I'll As an experiment, we'll take this code, update this, and I'll then take this code to Google Gemini 1.5 Pro 1.5 latest to see if it can add a leaderboard, right? Python Tetris.py, right? So I'm getting something. I'm just going to drop all the things fast, right? Because I want the game to get over. I want to see that message. So I'm just dropping everything on top of whatever is. Okay, 2 seconds. I did not see that message. Did you? Uh, where is it? Let's just manually try to find where it added that code. Did it add any sleep? No, there's no sleep. Wherever it has two, we'll just say maybe two might be no. So let's just ask it. I don't want to get into reading the entire code, given the fact I know so little about Pygame. Which line of code has 2 second delay? Can you make it 10 seconds and give me the refactored line of code? Right. So let's see the line of pygame.time.delay. Okay. So let's just see delay. It has 2000. I'll make it 10,000. Right. So let's see. Does anything happen if I change this? New terminal, Python Tetris, again running it, and just running it again and again, and just dropping each piece on top of the other. Just okay. No, I'm still not seeing it. uh, Now when the a game over message will be before quitting, run the updated script. If change piece, okay, it just did the same thing we did. But I don't see any or was it because I have the keys pressed? Maybe let me just see again, right? So because I'm trying to press the keys so many times, there is some sort of a looping logic. I let all these pieces go down, and then see what comes back when we finally hit the game over, right? Does it actually show my hands are off the keyboard? No, nothing came. So it's clearly not working. So it's now, I asked it that, hey, it's not working. As soon as the game gets over, the window just moves off. And it's saying, hey, pygame.display.quit and quit calls are happening too soon. So it's kind of doing some refactoring of the code to not call the other line of code before the 10 seconds have elapsed. So let's see what comes back. It's still writing the code for me. I want to see that game over, and then we are going to take it to Google Gemini Pro 1.5 and see what comes back. Right. So, in the meanwhile, while this is printing, let me open my Google Gemini Pro 1.5 as well. So it's done printing the code. Now let me just copy this entire code and come back to my Visual Studio Code. See, it is not like you give it a message and it will just finish coding for you and you can run the final product. There is a lot of to and fro, right? So okay, game seems to be working fine. Left right movement is okay. Let me just quickly drop these things on top of each other so that the line space gets over. um, Deliberately moving it in a way that the space gets over fast. Again, I don't see it happening, right? So we'll go to Chrome. And we'll open our Google AI Studio. And I've already have a system prompt ready which says you are an experienced Pygame developer who has built several variations of Tetris, right? So I have this ready. I'm just going to now type uh, evaluate this code. I'm not able to see the game over. Once the game gets over, I want you to critically review the code and help me first with identification of the problem, and then the solution by building refactored code, or code rebuilding the code with the fix, right? So I'm now asking it to do this. So let's see, I've given him, is it the system prompt? No. So it's saying the problem with your code is that while the game does indeed end when you lose, the game over message is displayed for a very short period. This is because you call pygame after pygame.quit, meaning the delay happens after the window has already quit. So it has tried to figure out where the problem is, and it's now giving me the corrected code, right? The good part with Gemini 1.5, and I'm using Flash right now, is that the input token limit is decently large, right? Set run to false after the delay. This ensures explanation of the fix. Move pygame, the delay is now placed before pygame.quit. So let's just use their code as well. So I've just copied the code to clipboard. I'm going to come back to my window, copy paste it here, and see if it has any prompt stuff. No. So I'm just going to do this. I don't know why I have this. Yeah, I was searching for it earlier. So now go back to the terminal. I now have the code that was fixed by Google Studio, right? So now let's just run this code, see what comes back. And again, Google Studio, even Google Gemini Flash 1.5 is a multimodal model. So you can actually give it an image and say, hey, you know what, I want something like this. It's still not working out. So guys, now my patience has run off. I'm going to quit here and not debug it any further. I hope this video taught you something interesting and it was more fun. Today is a Saturday when I'm trying to build this video, and I just thought that let's pick up something that is more less codey, less about code and more about how you use ChatGPT 4o. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much. And if you learned something new, if it was fun, if it was even an iota of fun, do like, subscribe, and comment. It really boosts my morale and it's very helpful. I really love reading your comments, and I reply to each one and every one of the comments. Thank you so much.